Good morning, everybody. Can everyone hear me here? I just find it truly amazing how technology has made our world so much smaller. And this has allowed many Canadian companies to venture into new markets that, for the most part, might not even been on the horizon about 10 years ago. As part of your handout this morning, I think it's the last page of your booklet there, you'll find a map of the world, which has been color-coded to identify countries where Canada has free trade agreements with, as well as countries where we've entered into talks to negotiate new free trade agreements. With its new majority government, Mr. Harper's team will be inclined to move forward vigorously with its significant trade negotiations agenda. We put this together about a month ago, and it's already outdated. Currently, Canada is discussing entering into trade negotiations with a much more significant list of partners, including the EU, India, Korea, Japan, and Ukraine. I've also read that senior government officials are also quietly discussing the possibility of entering into talks with Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, and believe it or not, yes, even China. Canada's first free trade agreement was concluded with our most important trading partner, the United States, in 1987 and came into force in 1989. Subsequently, Canada entered the NAFTA negotiations, and the free trade area was deepened and extended to include Mexico in 1994. Clearly, these agreements are of major economic significance for Canada. Since then, Canada has concluded 9 other free trade agreements. We've got Israel, Chile, Costa Rica, the EFTA, which is made up of Switzerland, Norway, Liechtenstein, and Iceland, Peru, Colombia, Jordan, and Panama. The last 3 have not yet been implemented. In fact, the agreement with Jordan has been temporarily suspended. Negotiations or discussions are also actively underway with Turkey, Morocco, the Caribbean Community, and Honduras. While currently useful, none of these agreements and negotiations are of any major economic significance to Canada, as was NAFTA, or the ongoing discussions with the EU, India, Korea, and Japan. It is reasonable to assume that the US will continue to be our largest trading partner. However, the landscape is changing, and many companies are looking at new horizons to expand their product lines and grow their business. I recently came across an article in the Canadian Manufacturer Exporters newsletter, which was entitled, "Buy American, It's Back." I just want to quote Leo W. Gerard. His title is the International President, United Steel, Paper and Forestry, Rubber, Manufacturing, Energy, Allied Industrial and Service Workers International Union, short USW, the AFL-CIO, which stands for the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations, before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. Can you imagine that guy's business card? I'm sure it's about 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper there. Anyhow, he says, America's infrastructure needs, energy, roads, transit, bridges, rail, water, etc., are huge. We have a $2.2 trillion infrastructure deficit, according to the American Society of Civil Engineers. Not only will spending here employ people right away, it will lay the foundation for economic growth in the future. Funding for infrastructure must be built on a foundation that aggressively promotes Buy American policies. Americans want to know that their tax dollars are being used to create American jobs. Although we've been told that Canada is a trusted trade partner with the US, who knows what this could mean in the future? Diversity could be your insurance policy since nobody likes to put all their eggs in one basket. Diane has just provided us with some benefits of CentrePort Canada, and if I can trade and I'm looking at new markets, I said one of the first things that I might want to consider is the infrastructure provided may allow my business to pool my resources with other like-minded companies to be able to get my product into countries that we're both looking at. I mean, when we first all start shipping into new countries, whether it be Russia or somewhere, Asia, wherever, we're not maybe going to have the luxury of sending full containers. So we may be able to partner with each other and pool our resources together and maybe realize some real savings in transportation costs, that type of thing. Although free trade agreements with other countries will most likely allow their products to enter the country duty-free, there is always the price of admission. And for the most part, compliance is the price of admission. Customs regimes enforce all traded laws and regulations. Tariff value and origin, although still remain critical in your decision-making, are only the tip of the iceberg. Other government departments, commonly referred to as OGDs, piggyback customs. One must be conscious of these with considerations to consumer safety, patents, labeling and packaging, to name a few, notwithstanding the culture and language barriers. We had an interesting situation with one of our clients that is a manufacturer of machines, and they were ordering some of their parts from one of their US vendors. The Canada Border Service agencies, much like Customs Border Patrol or US Customs, administer the anti-dumping and countervailing duty regulations for the Canadian government and the US government. And the supplier, you know, when they're ordering their pistons and all the other parts that they need to manufacture their machines, happened to send a shipment of screws that were country of origin China. Well, currently, there's an anti-dumping case in Canada. I believe it was Leland Fasteners who manufacture fasteners in Canada, saying, hey, look, we can't compete with these fasteners coming in from other countries. So they've got a dumping case on certain types of fasteners where the origin is China or Taiwan. Turns out that these were screws that were considered to be part of the investigation. So the anti-dumping duty alone was 170%. So you have a $2,000 shipment of fasteners that you buy in good faith, and it ends up costing you more than double that in duty. So you have to be very, very careful when you're looking at getting your product into these countries, because there are other government departments that have a direct impact on your bottom line. Another situation we had with a company in Brazil that currently is distributing pet chews, or the rawhide bones, into the United States, and they've been asked by some of their U.S. customers that have stores in Canada, hey, we want you to get these into our stores in Canada, and but you're going to have to look after all of the duties and that type of stuff. So, as I had indicated, customs or these other government departments, and they piggyback. Customs administrate all of these reviews. So typically what will happen with your Food and Drug Administration in the United States, or Canadian Food Inspection Agency, CFIA in Canada, is that typically the requirements for release under their departments are dependent on the tariff classification. So the particular company in Brazil gave us the tariff classification that they were using to get the product into the United States. And the regulations for both Canada and the US under that tariff classification indicated that they needed to get an import permit, which was very expensive, time-consuming, delayed the shipment. So when we were able to get product literature, we determined that the tariff classification was actually not what they were declaring it. And the FDA requirements and the CFIA requirements indicated that you didn't need an import permit. All you needed to do was provide a hard copy of the invoice to customs for release. So you need to be very, very careful. When you're looking at new markets, make sure that you're aware of any other government departments that may come up. Okay. One of the things that we have noticed as we unpack issues with some of our clients is that many firms manage their trade-related functions in silos and can be divorced from other areas. Purchasing departments ensure they're getting the best price. Finance makes sure they're making money on the product. Marketing makes sure they're getting the word out, etc., etc. Although all are efficient in their roles in the company, this can be dangerous. One must be very mindful of the rules associated with their free trade agreement partner. Cantrade's looking at, I'm sure, getting into some of these countries where we're going to, by that time, for sure, have free trade agreements with. While some agreements may require a simple tariff shift to qualify your product for duty-free access into that country, many free trade agreements have specific rules based on the negotiations of the agreement. Many have regional value content requirements with an aim at protecting their local resources. A simple change in sourcing may have a direct impact on whether your product can enter the product at a reduced rate or whether it is subject to the same duty rate as that of a non-trading partner. I like to refer to the customs authorities in many countries as sleeping giants. You can be shipping your product for 3 to 4 years with little or no questions asked, and all of a sudden you get a request for information on your product. Many firms put an enormous amount of time and energy at qualifying their product when they first start shipping into a new country that we have a free trade agreement with. However, as they enhance their product, develop new products, or source more products globally, it could affect the various rules, and any duty savings realized may be eaten up, notwithstanding any penalties that may be enforced. We have a situation with a particular company that distributes and manufactures animal feed ingredients, and their research and development people enhanced their product by making it a new, improved version, which was going to provide, better feeding capabilities to the animal. And they had changed the ingredients of the particular feed. So they did this on their own, and marketing did their own thing, and they were going out, hitting the market, saying, hey, we need you to buy this product. If you liked it before, you're going to like it even better now. One of the things happened was that they happened to be going through a audit review with Canada Border Service agencies. They happened to pick up one of the tariff classifications for the particular product that, or not tariff classifications, sorry, you're just looking at me giving me my 2 minutes here, so I'll just quickly share the story with you. They asked for literature. The formula change actually changed the tariff classification, and it took the product from a duty-free tariff classification to a duty-bill tariff classification. So that's why you need to make sure when all of your departments are doing things that could really affect the bottom line of the product. So I think my time is up, so I'd like to now thank you all for listening to me and introduce Bonnie Bain with Farm Credit Canada for her part of the presentation.